What's going on, guys? Conviction 454 here. It's been a while since I've made a video, specifically an IT video. So I figured I would just get on up and hop on my desktop today and record a video. so yeah, today I just want to talk a little bit about my experience working on the IT service desk as a what they call a support engineer. Uh, when it comes to nomenclature for entry-level IT positions, they'll go with pretty much anything. But essentially, I'm a help desk technician, service desk technician, technical support, whatever you want to call it. But yeah. So just to give a brief overview on what I do on a day-to-day, maybe talk a little bit about some of the tickets I get on a daily basis. And for those of you who actually aren't familiar with using things like a ticketing system, this ticketing system right here, it's called ServiceNow. It's actually a very common and popular one in the IT field. And as you can see, it could be pretty organized and laid out. But anyways, without further ado, I guess I'll start with just talking a little bit about ServiceNow and navigating and sharing my knowledge on what I know about ServiceNow anyway. So generally when I log in every day, the only tab, well, I won't say the only tab, but the tab that I primarily use for me anyway, also this is a customized tab. This is just what's called Service Desk My Work. This is where I generally find all of my tickets. So as you can see, I have about 40 in my queue, and let's see here. A lot of these tickets are actually complete. The way my organization has it set up is we actually have tickets that we mark as resolved, but they'll sit in your queue for the longest. And some of these tickets I actually need to go back into and make resolved because I am essentially done with them already. So yeah, it's a bit unorganized on my end and on the organization's end. Not to call anybody out, of course, but just exiting out of here for a moment. I just wanted to kind of show you guys what ServiceNow is all about and what it has to offer. So as you can see here, it has a list of different incidents assigned to each of our techs. As you can see, I only got about 8 tickets today. And then there's tasks. So these are two different types of tickets, and for those of you who aren't really familiar with the term ticket, essentially a ticket is distributed to you whenever a user either submits one, or you can also submit a ticket for a user, and that would essentially just be them asking for something to be done, or they have a problem and they just want to have the IT team aware of it. If it's an actual like problem, then 9 times out of 10 it's going to be an incident ticket. But if it's actually something that's like a request, like somebody wants a new laptop or somebody needs a distribution list to be created, that would fall under tasks. And if you aren't familiar with what distribution lists are, I'll explain that in a bit. I actually may not be able to show you like what it may look like on this computer. I'm not really sure if I have a VM installed of Windows Server. Yeah, it looks like I do not, so that'll actually be on a different video and that gives me more content to think of. Alright, but anyways, just going through what we call EagleEye. I'm not really sure if this is proprietary to just ServiceNow, but essentially EagleEye is where we go for the most detail in regards to everything that's essentially being accomplished. So as you can see here, we have something called acquisitions. So the company I work for, One Digital, they're a fairly sized insurance company, more or less, and we get probably at least a few acquisitions a year, and I actually have 2 of them assigned. Well, one of them is assigned and another one's already done, and it looks like a few other people have some acquisitions that they're working on for the team. And we also, of course, we get new individual new hire tickets. So that would essentially be going into Active Directory, creating their user profile, setting up their hardware. We have a complete checklist on that, but since I'm not really on my work laptop right now, I'm on a personal desktop. I'm kind of limited on exactly what I can show you because all of my notes aren't really stored We also have something called termination tickets. So that's of course when somebody leaves the company. You have to get rid of their Active Directory. Well, not get rid of it, but standard practice is to disable the account for a while and then eventually get rid of it. But yeah, so that's essentially what a termination ticket would be. Other companies may call it something else, and some companies may not have termination tickets at all. So that's just something to be mindful of. Oops, sorry about that. All right, so and then these other tabs. I mean, depending on if the actual end user will submit a survey for us, that information can be found here. You're graded on stuff like professionalism, knowledge, responsiveness, stuff like that. I don't really look at this tab very often because, to be quite frank, I don't really care. But as you can see, I'm averaging 4.8. That's just for the month, though. Let's see. There's an acquisitions tab, a delegation view. Yeah, so it's just a lot of detail in regards to everything that's going on with the service desk. So in terms of these other tabs, I mean, you have this is every ticket for the service desk. I'm pretty sure that's open. So there's 479 that are open. This tab is used to actually create a ticket or create an incident. So I'm not going to actually create one now, of course, but just to show you what it would look like on ServiceNow when you're getting ready to create an incident. There's always going to be an INC number, and you'll want to give the user this number. And the user might, if let's say a service desk technician that's not you creates a ticket, and then a user calls and they say, I have a ticket number. All you have to do is get this number, go to the search bar here, enter it, and it'll take you straight to that ticket. Of course, the caller would be the user in most cases. A lot of these fields actually aren't required. Category, for those of you who are looking to get into like a help desk or a service desk position like this, sometimes they may tell you that this is extremely important, but here in One Digital we don't put too much priority into categorizing tickets like that. As long as you get it resolved, really. Contact type is required, so email, phone, self-service, walk-in. And it'll really depend on your environment, who you work for, stuff like that. Impact is fairly important. We normally keep it on low though, because we get a lot of requests and not everything is as important as people would like to believe. I hope my manager doesn't ever hear me say that, but alright, so assignment group. Your company is probably going to have multiple levels of triage. Generally, for our company, we don't really have like a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. We're kind of all just the service desk, and we have a very small amount of people in security, a very small amount of people in infrastructure, and enterprise applications isn't even on ServiceNow for us. So I'm not even sure why we have a group category for them. That's kind of bizarre to me, but it is what it is. Short description, what's the problem, summarized, and then description, a little bit more about the problem. When you resolve a ticket, what you'll want to do is, let's see. So you can leave comments down here and work notes, and you will want to change the state to resolved. You could put the state in progress. Well, normally, here in One Digital, the tickets are almost always going to come in as in progress. And then for on hold, that's if you're actually working on the ticket, it's already in progress. You change it to on hold. Let's say your user is on PTO, or if the user is, I don't know, something that occurred in between you actually working the ticket and you actually resolving it. And then if the ticket doesn't need to be resolved anymore, you can cancel that. But we generally don't cancel here because apparently it looks bad for our statistics. So alright, so resolution information, this is pretty important. Most of the time we just go to solved permanently. of it's resolved by caller, you want to make sure to put that, and then just kind of explain how you resolve the issue. So just in case another technician needs to follow up on your work, they have some idea of what happened and what occurred. And also your manager is probably going to look at this as well. And if you don't leave any notes there, they're going to say it didn't happen, and you might get in trouble for that. So yeah, that's pretty much the essentials for creating an incident ticket. Creating a request ticket is not too different. Us on the actual like IT, service desk support side, we don't really create requests, we get them. And so let's see if I actually have one in my queue that would be considered a request or a task. Yeah, it looks like I have a few. They're, as you can see, they're new hires for the most part. So yeah, this would be the layout for what a task would look like. The variables for the task, it'll vary depending on what the task is. As you can see, there's a state and priority. There's a request item. Now, the request item is generally what the user will submit, and then you'll get a task out of that request item for you to actually do some work. So here's what a request item ticket would look like. So as you can see, it's got subcategory, request, due date, let's see, stage, all this. I've only worked 2 positions where we've ever used ServiceNow, and I don't think in either position we've ever really worked with RITMs, because they were always configured for us, and when we got them in, we would just work on the task. So yeah, that's essentially what a task and a RITM or request item looks like. Honestly, there aren't really a whole lot of tickets that I have. Let's see here. Like I said, the majority of these are pretty much already done, and a lot of these are either hardware requests or, I mean, I suppose there are quite a few email tickets in here. I had to configure a home printer for somebody. It looks like there's somebody else who's going to need a home printer. Let's see. Password resets, That's how you know you're working a service desk position, when you see that right there. Alright, let's see. I believe this ticket here was actually in regards to repairing an Outlook profile. Of course, I can't actually work this right now because it's after hours, but for this ticket here, I'll go on ahead and show you the error message she was getting. I think it may be helpful to some people. Alright, so it looks like she was getting an OST cannot be opened. 9 times out of 10, this is going to be a corrupt OST file. And that just for those who aren't really aware of what an OST file is, essentially it is a file that essentially syncs all of your online Exchange server settings onto your computer, and if that file gets corrupted, 9 times out of 10 you won't be able to actually access and sync with the email server. So and if the computer can't really sync with the email server, then new emails can't come in. You may not actually be able to view local emails or emails that you've already received. However, there is a workaround for this. We call this the OWA version of Outlook. So if you go to portal.office.com, and I may have to actually authenticate here. Oh no, it authenticated for me. So if in the event, if anybody ever, like if somebody can't access their email through the desktop application for Outlook, what you can do is you can go to portal.office.com, have them log in with their same credentials, have them authenticate if they need to, and you click on the Outlook icon and it'll show them an exact copy of their emails. Actually, this is actually my, yeah, this is a different email, but this is my college email, but I'm not in college anymore. That's weird. So I'm gonna close out of that. But yeah, you can essentially, actually, I guess it does say it right there. 1 second. But yeah, going back to the corrupt OST thing. So what you could do is rebuild the Outlook profile. So what you would want to do that, first thing you want to do, you would actually want to make sure that they're logged out of their Outlook completely, because it may not actually allow you to rebuild the profile. And once you do that, I believe you go to mail. No, not there. It's, let me see. You definitely want to make sure that their email account is actually configured through here. And what you could simply do is remove this and add it back, and that might actually fix the issue. But I'm actually looking for something else. Oh, and while I'm in here, I guess I might as well show you where you can actually find the data file. I believe that would be in, let's see. No, not there. Sorry about that. Here. Okay, so the data file, this would be the OST file. What some people like to do is they like to just, you know, what they might do is actually just make a backup of this and then just copy it back over, and sometimes that helps. Or they just like to remove it entirely, like delete it and then restore it that way, and then it should connect with the Exchange server, and then it should get their emails back. But that's not always the case. I've seen instances where that doesn't work. And so yeah, for that ticket in particular, that would generally be how you resolve that. Really rebuilding the OST completely would be probably the easiest thing to do. But there is actually a command out there that I can't seem to think of right now that will actually fix it. And I don't believe it requires an actual like OST profile rebuild. And so yeah, that would be it for this ticket, but I have not gotten with this user yet. And also our company relies heavily on a VPN, since a lot of our workers are working from home right now. And sometimes just not being able to cache the credentials through the VPN can cause an OST error, or make the OST believe that it's corrupt when it's really not, or however that works. So yeah, that would resolve that ticket, I'm pretty confident. Alright, let's see if I have any other tickets. Okay, this one is Outlook is very slow installing out. That could be a memory issue. She might actually be due for a hardware upgrade. In fact, yeah, I believe she has a Dell G5 EliteBook, and our company is all the way up to G8s, so she may actually be due for an upgrade. I'll have to get back to her on that. Let's see here. Yeah, hardware issues. Outlook keeps disconnecting. Let's see here. Yeah, it sounds like this might be a hardware issue as well. And then it happens sporadically. It seems like it's not really a consistent thing, but it does happen somewhat often. Another thing that might work for situations like that, if you go to programs and features, actually I'm not really sure if I have that program on my computer. Let me see. Here it is. Yeah. So if you go here and you go to modify, by the way, this is Windows 11. It'll look the same on Windows 10 more or less. And if you go to modify, if you just do a quick repair, that'll fix a lot of Outlook issues as well. Particularly for this issue, that might actually be the solution. I've had a similar ticket before. So yeah, I guess I'll connect with her at some point and try that. Yeah, some of these are about a week past due. But we kind of get a lot of tickets Monday through Friday. So setting up home phones, bad image. She needs a replacement, I believe. Let's see here. required training error. I think he was getting a dependencies error. Well, his entire office was getting a dependencies error, which isn't good, of course. Yeah, a lot of these are, hardware, printers. Nobody in IT likes printers. Like I said, I just had to configure a printer for somebody, and it took like, I think it only took 30 minutes, but that's actually like a record for me. Password reset, D365. That's kind of like some type of client database or whatever we on the service desk don't really use D365, and I don't imagine anybody that works in IT position uses it. So okay, looking for emails that may be quarantined. That might be one to touch on. So I actually already looked at this ticket, and it looks like she didn't get back to me yet. But we actually use this software called Mimecast. Prior to this position, I had never heard of it. So if I go to the portal and go to Mimecast administration, this is pretty much our, I guess you can call it, an online database for sent and received emails for pretty much any one digital employee. It may not let me log in. Okay, yeah, looks like it's letting me in. So this is the administration console. We can check for all sorts of things. If it does eventually load, we can check for held emails, bounced emails, rejected emails, and it looks like there's a lot. Check for attachments. We can check for managed senders. The service desk generally spends most of their time in here or in here. We don't really touch policies much. That's more so security. Rejections. There's a lot of stuff here. But yeah, so if you wanted to, for example, block a certain alias, you would go to managed senders, and under managed senders, it'll show you all the permitted aliases, all the blocked ones. It's pretty streamlined and it's pretty self-explanatory. So, alright, so these are all manual policy types, which means somebody came in, went here, added a managed sender or blocked a sender, and they essentially either added the ability to email a certain sender from an external alias, or they blocked that alias. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Let's see here. And so while I'm talking about some of the tools I use, let's see here. Other than Mimecast, another tool that we use pretty often is the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. It still got me signed into my school account. I have no idea why. I could have sworn I got rid of that account a long time ago. Sign in. Alright, so, oh yeah, looks like it's gonna actually ask me to authenticate again, which is, it's good business practice. It is, but it can get tedious at times. And we have this entire, protocol set up where we have to go into our phones, hit approve on our phone, and then a Microsoft Authenticator will say, yeah, we recognize you, and then you get in. I don't think that's the most technical way to explain it, but that's essentially how it works. So, email accounts, things like that, we would come here. So if I just search my name here, oh wait, oh, you know what? This computer isn't connected to the VPN for One Digital, so it may not actually let me view the actual accounts from here. or maybe it will. Okay, here's some users. Let's see if I can search my name now. It might just be taking a while or something. Yeah, I'm thinking that, I don't know. I've never tried this outside my work computer, but let's just click on any person's name and see if it shows anything. That's not an account. This is. So yeah, she is sign in blocked right now, but let's see if we can find somebody that's active. I need to stop doing that. Those clearly aren't accounts. Yeah, sign in blocked. But it might also be saying that again because of the VPN. Okay, so Amy Lord. So if I wanted to edit her username, I could do that here, but you can also do this through Active Directory. And then it'll essentially sync with the Exchange server because of the SMTP settings. Let's see here. Licenses and apps. If a user does not have this O365 E3 license, they won't be able to log into Outlook, and probably not Teams or really the entire Office suite. So that would be Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneNote, and Mail. This is where you'll probably spend the most of your time as an IT technician or help desk guy or whatever you want to call it. So you're going to get some tickets that come in saying, oh, I want permission to read somebody's mailbox. So you'll come in here and you'll probably go to read and manage permissions. You click on that, and everyone under this list here will have permissions to view this person's mailbox. You can also configure send as permissions. So if you wanted to send an email under her name or on her behalf, you can do that. Well, there's send on behalf of permissions as well that you can configure separately. Let's see, there's email forwarding, so any emails from her mailbox can be forwarded somewhere else. Let's see, there's automatic replies. There's a global address list, which I can show you what that looks like in Outlook. And then there's OneDrive access. So if I wanted to delegate her OneDrive inbox to somebody else, you can do it simply by clicking create link to files and then giving that link to somebody. So you can do quite a bit in here. Quite a bit in here. Let's see what else. Okay, so we have Active Directory, and then we have Azure AD, which is Microsoft's cloud version of Active Directory. And you can do all sorts of things in here. Again, I might be limited, but oh yeah, I am limited because no VPN, I think. So yeah, every user that you find in here will be in here. And you can configure things like assign them to certain groups. You can manage their authentication methods in here. Generally, everybody uses their phone, of course. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I'm pretty limited in terms of what I can do from a technical standpoint because I'm not connected to my work computer, and I doubt they would let me record a video on there anyway. There's SharePoint admin, Teams admin, Service Desk doesn't really use this too much. Endpoint Manager. Now I'm still a rookie when it comes to Endpoint Manager, but essentially, if your company has like a company portal, then all the users assigned to that company portal will be under here, and you can configure things like AJ Rudolph, for example, his devices, just to see. Looks like the only thing he has under the company portal is his laptop. All of our laptops will have a model number that starts with 5CG. Yeah, you can also come here to assign groups. Like I said, I'm pretty new to this, and we don't come in here that often, so hope this at least gives you an idea of what it looks like. And then there's the Exchange server, which we spend a lot of time in here because we have to configure so many accounts, and we have this thing where if somebody has a name and then they have a preferred name, then you have to configure their primary SMTP to be their preferred name, and then their secondary SMTP to be their legal name. I think it's a bunch of nonsense. And honestly, when I first came in only 4 months ago, they told me they taught me how to do everything, and then they're like, no, we do it like this now. And I'm like, well, dang, I've been here for 4 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, how am I supposed to learn and get used to things if you keep changing it? But that's the nature of the tech field, I suppose. Things change, and they change often. And if you're not used to change, if you hate change like I do, you might have a tough time. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of the tools that we use. And of course, there's some other tools that we use. Like I didn't even show you VMware or Active Directory, but we use VMware. We actually use we do all of our admin-based Active Directory tasks within a VM, just to separate. Well, actually, that's kind of the only Active Directory we use. I'm not entirely sure why, but every IT infrastructure is going to be different. So some companies will just have an Active Directory, and then some will have it isolated into a VMware environment. I'm not really sure why. I think that's beyond my pay grade, but like I said, I'm still learning just like you guys. Like I said, I've only been working in IT for almost 2 years, and I've had multiple positions. Some didn't work out, some did work out, you know. This one's been working out so far, though. I like it here. But yeah, just in terms of a generalized like IT experience, IT help desk job, that's essentially what you'll be doing, especially as a tier 1. I mean, as a tier 1, you're probably going to get a lot of password resets, configure Outlook, let's see what else. I mean, probably a lot of Outlook email issues. Something doesn't work. Oh, I need hardware. You know, something like that. You know, that's kind of what, you know, at least the beginning of IT is looking like for the majority of people. And like I say, it'll be a little different depending on where you are. Like my last help desk position, we actually did not have a procurement manager, so we had to configure and image a bunch of laptops, which that's pretty easy. Actually, if you didn't watch my video on when I was working with a company called Venture Employer Services, I believe it's called IT Help Desk Position Day in the Life, I would definitely recommend you watch it. But in this position, I'm technically considered a tier 1 and a tier 2 at the same time. It's pretty weird, but we only have like 13 people on the team, so I guess you kind of have to make everybody do everything. So let's see, anything else? Yes, there's one thing I did want to show you guys how to do. So if you ever need to actually install Active Directory on your computer, what you want to do is go to, well, you can just type Windows RSAT tools, and I might actually already have it, but let's see, which stands for Remote Server Administration Tools, of course. You can just go here and you can download it. Let's go with 64 bits. And of course, this computer isn't joined to a domain or anything, so it won't really show anything. Alright, so you install it. Update for Windows. Yeah, I'll probably need that. I accept. It shouldn't automatically restart my computer, but if it does, then well, I guess this video will end there. This download has been deprecated. Well, this download page has been deprecated, yeah. Alright. Oh yeah, Windows 11 is a bit different. Let's search for Windows. I think it's administration tools. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's showing. Alright. I'm not used to Windows 11 quite yet, as you can see, but it should be under something called Windows Administrative Tools. I actually have not seen anybody use AD under Windows 11 yet. Should be somewhere though. I wonder if I just type. Nah, it doesn't look like that's gonna show up. I might have to actually restart my computer anyway for it to show up. Oh man. Let's see here. Oh, okay. I didn't know that's how you got that to pop up. But yeah, there should be something called. Huh. Yeah, I might have to restart. But yeah, if you once you download RSET tools, there should be something that's called Windows Administrative Tools, and then you'll see something called Active Directory, and then there will be something called Active Directory Users and Computers, and that's typically where you would go for a help desk position to configure user accounts and whatnot. You can also do the same thing in Azure, I believe. So go into Azure, users, and we typically don't create users, but you go to new user and you can create the user here. But they may not be tied to your what we call on-prem, so that would be your local Active Directory for your local domain. It might just be in the cloud. So, but if you actually like create the user account within the local, well, actually, the way we have it set up is we have a guy that created a script to where you can actually create an account on local AD, and then it'll upload to the Azure AD as well. But he's no longer on the team for some reason. So, but yeah, I think I've covered quite a bit in this video already. So I actually think I'm gonna wrap this up. For those of you who actually find this video and take the time to watch it, if you have any questions, concerns, or anything like that, you can always just leave a comment. And I'm pretty responsive, so don't be afraid to ask any questions at all. And yeah, that's gonna be it. And actually, what I think I might do is I may upload another video just talking about the Active Directory environment, which I could do if I just install a virtual machine through VirtualBox or something like that. But yeah, that's another topic for another video. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.